Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Backbone Zone. My name's Tyson, and thanks for joining me yet again. Another episode. I'm going to be doing them on Thursday mornings from now on. Just hectic schedule, I guess, especially leading up to Act Jam, and just trying to get it a bit more regular. So we'll say Thursdays. It'll be out from now on. This episode is going to be a bit of a fun one. I just wanted to touch on the last episode, which was the Club Backbone announcement. Since then, Club Backbone has been live, and we've had really good feedback from people across Australia. So thank you for that. Letting us know what your thoughts were with it, and of course signing up. We've got a lot of members right now. I'm not sure exactly where we're at, but I think we're sitting somewhere around 150 members already. So if you think about that, we're sort of on our goal, on target to our goal of having, hopefully 1,000 riders by the end of the year. I think it's going to be really powerful. So yeah, I really appreciate it if you've signed up already. If you haven't signed up, then definitely check out the link that I'll put in the description of the video, or head to the website backbonebmx.com, and you'll be able to sign up and become a voice for BMX in Australia. But this episode, we've got the Battle of Hastings coming up in England, which is always a really fun one. But with that comes the NORA Cup. So the NORA Cup has been around for probably 20 years now, and it was a BMX magazine that did it, Ride BMX. Ride BMX has since become Our BMX, and it's cool that they've kept that tradition alive. And I thought that I would give, my predictions and my thoughts on the riders that have been nominated for NORA Cup this year. So yeah, it's been a bit of I would say a bigger year for BMX, considering that we're sort of back to normal in terms of, the whole pandemic thing has sailed by us a little bit, and people are traveling. There was a lot more international events, things like that sort of shape the narrative as to why people get nominated and then win the NORA Cup. And I am firstly just really stoked to see a lot of Aussie names in there. So it's pretty cool to see that Australian recognition. There's actually Kiwi dude Nathan Saunders from New Zealand. That's really cool too. But yeah, well, let's go through it. Let's jump in. I'll give you my predictions and my thoughts on it. So we've got first one up. I'll do Flatland Rider of the Year. So Flatland, not my strongest point. I am going to go with the prediction of, so we've got Alex Jumelin, Kyo Hayakawa, Terry Adams, who's been a mainstay of Flatland riding for a long time now, Yu Katagiri, and Yu Shoji. I am going to go with Kyo Hayakawa. I will say that I think he won the X Games this year in Japan, and just from what I've seen, he's just super dialed and doing stuff that's a little bit different. I did like Alex Jumelin's riding in the X Games too. That was really cool. But yeah, Kyo's got my vote, and that's my prediction for Flatland Rider of the Year. So pretty exciting to see if it comes true. Next up, we've got Women's Rider of the Year. So Angie Marino, Linda Grabner, Liz Surly, Villegas, Nikita Ducaro, and Paris Benangas. I am going to say that I've really been enjoying watching Linda Grabner ride. She's really, in my opinion, progressing street riding in that female division. She's doing super crazy moves where it's like the feeble to drop down pedal feeble 180, and she's doing kind of taking it to the next level, which is exciting to see. It's definitely kind of an emerging part of BMX in the female category is street riding, and I think that she's been killing it. I'm going to say that Angie is actually going to win it though. So yeah, in my opinion, Angie Marino, she has had a really big year in terms of they did the Bloom trip. She just won that Vans Waffle Cup. She's kind of reinvented herself a little bit as a rider. She's still doing everything really cool, good style and things like that. But I would say that she is also trying to ride street and progress that type of riding. It kind of seemed like she was a little bit burnt out on the competition style of riding, that competitive aspect that has been happening. And I actually thought she was going to quit BMX altogether and ride mountain bikes, but it seems like she's back, found love for it, or whatever the case may be. And yeah, she's my prediction. She's my vote for the women's rider NORA Cup. Now, next one, I'll skip Reader's Choice because that's cool. So we've got Transition Rider of the Year, and we've got Alex Hyam, Dennis Anderson, Josh Dove, Kevin Peraza, and Logan Martin. So stacked division for transition riders for sure. I actually like all of those riders for different reasons. So I really like Josh Dove just as a dude. Like I've known Josh for a few years now. He's been coming to Act Jam. He's mates with Jason Watts, who rides for the shop, and he's been coming through Canberra a little bit with Jason. And he's obviously blowing up, like he's getting a little bit older. He's starting to travel a little bit more. And I think the world is starting to recognize how good Josh is at riding transition. Probably riding anything. But yeah, he is well-deserved nominee for a reason. And has a bit more of a unique style, I would say, compared to some of the other Transition Rider of the Year nominees. Just more like, I guess he's on the Fast and Loose crew for a reason, and it's because he goes super fast and super high. Logan Martin, an obvious choice in terms of the competitive nature of BMX. Like, I think that Logan kills it. He obviously won the X Games this year in California. He won the X Games in Japan as well. So those two things alone, if you're talking about accolades, like that's massive. And he's also right up there in the FIS rankings as well. I can't quite remember if he won the last one or not. I think he might have, but just going off memory, he's obviously killing it in terms of competitive riding, but it's hard for him because, like I've said in last episodes, he kind of get judged against himself, and because he is a competitive rider, sometimes he can be sort of looked at in a less favorable way because people don't want to it's just not the same when you're watching people do a run at a competition as when you're watching like video parts and things that are a bit more relatable. So I can see that he may not win because of that reason. However, if you were to watch his Instagram and watch the way that he rides his backyard and other skate parks, he's obviously the best in the world for tricks. So Kevin Peraza, I really like his style. He's actually probably one of my favorite riders just in general. I don't know if he'll pull off the win with Transition Rider of the Year, just because I guess, like, all things considered, the accolades, the competition placings and those extras that you do are not quite as high there for Kevin. He did win best trick, the Dave Mirra best trick in the X Games, so that was on transition. So, I can't say that he didn't get any accolades, but I just feel like he potentially won't win. This is my predictions anyway. So we're really down to the final two, which is Dennis and Alex. Dennis is a beast. He, again, is one of my favorite riders. He has been doing it for so damn long at such a high level that it's just incredible. I hear that he gets a bit ticked off because he wins Transition Rider of the Year, and he reckons that he doesn't even barely ride transition that much. Obviously, that's changed with his backyard. He's riding transition a lot more. I think he's still, on any given day, Dennis Anderson could be the best transition rider on the planet. So, he rode in the X Games, did really well there. He has his backyard set up that he just keeps blowing minds with. He filmed in his Acer part where it was, incredible transition riding in there too. But I can see why he's in there, and like I said, on any given day he could win NORA Cup Transition Rider. But I think this year, for me, the winner, or at least the person that I believe should win, is Alex Hyam. So Alex kind of been flying. Well, in Australia, he definitely hasn't been flying under the radar. Alex is one of the best riders of all time. He has just been doing so much in such a unique way since he was 12 years old. He's been one of those prodigies that's come up from very young age. But I think that his riding these days is actually more impressive than it ever has been, in terms of the way that he approaches tricks that I've never seen anyone replicate. He's just had a video part come out with Vans. There's insane transition riding in that. On the daily, on his Instagram, he's riding ramps that aren't like a typical indoor style of riding. He's doing things to fakie. He'll do, in that video, the Vans video part, he did a 360 double tail whip to fakie, and it was just like insane to watch that, because he has a certain looseness that kind of makes it feel like he didn't learn it onto a resi. He just has that much bike control that's where he decides to do it on a concrete quarter pipe. So my belief is that Alex, not should win it. Any of these guys could win it. And like I said, if it's based on accolades, obviously Logan's done 2 X Games gold medals. So, it's hard to say exactly who will win it, but I am predicting Alex Hyam for the win. But like I said, any of those 5 should deserve to win it. So, on to the next one. So we've got skip Trail Rider of the Year for a second. So we've got Street Rider of the Years, Felix Prangenberg, Garrett Reynolds, Jordan Godwin, Lewis Mills, and Nathan Williams. So this was a tough one for me to think about who would win this, because at first my opinion was that Felix should win it. So Felix, for those that don't know, definitely go and look him up. He's released video part on video part, just back to back all the time. They're off the charts good. He had multiple video part sections, like in the We the People video, and he just released another one that the name escapes me, but he's been riding really good in X Games. I think that Felix could definitely win this for sure. As the same with, Garrett Reynolds. Every time he absolutely kills it. The person that stands out for me is obviously Lewis Mills. So I feel like Lewis, he did win gold at X Games Street in Japan. So that's a massive feather in the cap to win that. Just the fact, the story behind it. I heard that his sister flew him there. He and then he ends up winning the X Games. So it's like a massive, massive achievement, and I'm super stoked just to see that rise. Lewis is another dude that he's just such a good dude. I've met him. He came to the Act Jam probably like 5 years ago or more, and since then we've hung out. And he just seems to have a bit of a different vibe going on with street riding. He's obviously trying to ride his very, very best, but it doesn't come across quite so serious in my eyes. And he just is having fun with it. So I really think that, Lewis has a real chance of winning this, especially off the back of he released that Lewis fiending video that came out, which is super mind-blowing. And that's where this sort of, the waters have been muddied a little bit, because Lewis could win video part of the year, but he could also win Street Rider of the Year. And Felix could definitely win Street Rider of the Year, but he could also win Rider of the Year, Reader's Choice. So it's a tough one to say exactly who will win. I think it's out of those two. I'm going to go with Lewis Mills winning Street Rider of the Year, but I definitely think that either of those two deserve it. And I'm just going to back Lewis because he's Aussie and a mad dog. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Like, how can you not root for the hometown? So yeah, excited to watch to see who takes that one. But yeah, Lewis, you got my vote. Next one for the nominations is actually Trail Rider. We'll go to Trail Rider of the Year. So the nominees for that is Clint Reynolds, Corey Nastasio, Jay Hamilton, Nathan Hallahan, and Nathan Saunders. This is the one that's sort of, I would say, closest to my heart. I froth, trail stuff, obviously, and these guys are all, deserved in their own right. It's kind of a tough one because we get to vote for Trail Rider of the Year through the shop, and for many years we've been nominating riders. Well, for a few years we started by nominating riders that we thought were Trail Rider of the Year, and that would be, for us, it was dudes like Russell Brindley. He was nominated a few years in a row just because of his contribution to BMX. We put out a video with him that got a lot of, views. And it's really tough because when we get the opportunity to vote, they ask about what it is that makes that rider more than just a good rider, but what they do to contribute to the scene. So it's sort of two-tiered in that way. It's very clear cut in some of the other options. It's the best rider or what they've done and in terms of riding, but with Trail Rider it's a lot more than just what they can do on a bike. So in that way, I'm sure every trail rider or every trail scene with people that are actually down for the scene and love building trails, they've all got someone who's their Trail Rider of the Year, and that's why it can be a bit difficult to almost put your ego aside, because I would want no one more to win than, Russell, for example. So for me, like, years gone by, Russell's been the one that's like been the glue that's held the scene together. He's always the guy that's like looking to build. He obviously rides like a son of a bitch. There's heaps of reasons why Russell could win it, but then you have to sort of take your own situation out of that and think about who inspires you worldwide to keep building trails and to keep stoking that trail fire in the scene. And I think as well as that, who on a larger scale just makes you most stoked about trail riding and trail building. And that's why I would vote for Clint Reynolds this particular year. However, I also have voted for Corey Anastasio the year before this, and I could easily vote for him again. So I feel like the both of them. So Clint, he's been working really hard on his new spot that's on his property, northeast side. So he's building heaps, but he's also showing that. A lot of the time trail riders don't want to show their spot for fear of it being blown up and whatnot. And I totally get that. I totally understand why people would, keep it on the down low and things, are safer potentially if it's kept on the down low, or maybe they just don't want to show it. But for me, when riders can show trail spots and what they're digging on and then what they ride and seeing them cut laps at their own spot, like there's nothing more inspiring than watching things come together. Seeing Clint working on a new set at his trails and then opening it up in first laps and he putting that on his Instagram. That's like ultimate inspiration for a trail builder. So to me, I feel like Clint has done the most of that this year, but not to take away from any of the other four riders like Mean Horse, Nathan Saunders. I froth every time if I open my Instagram and there's a clip of him riding his trails, or he's doing some mean backflip at, PMP or something. Or same goes with Nathan Hallahan. He's one of my favorite riders at the moment. He's just he's just got such good style. His whole family is holding it down. He's got his own trail spot. Jay Hamilton, same thing. Everyone's holding it down at their own spots. Anastasia, you don't even have to really say the accolades that dude has been doing for his, love of trails, and you feel that come through. And he's an older rider now, so there's that relatability for me, seeing this dude that's almost 10 years my senior, absolutely killing it. Still doing double backflips and still building spots and riding by himself. There's so much there to unpack in the Trail Rider of the Year, and it's a tough one. But Clint Reynolds, that's who I'm predicting. I think that he deserves it. He has had a lot of footage come out, sick trails. All the boys, keep doing your thing. It's awesome. And on to the next one. So we've got so Video of the Year nominees: Chocolate Truck 2, Chapter 1 Doomed, F It All by Fit, Honey by We the People, and Live Fast by Vans. This is an easy one for me. I actually love the Doomed stuff. I thought the Fit stuff was really good. We the People, obviously, they've got a bunch of absolute killers on the team. And I'm not, I don't really ride that much street, but I love watching it. And for me, like, We the People have got like the most stacked riding in terms of street riding. And I obviously ride for We the People, so I'm partial there as well. But for me, the Live Fast video by Vans, which was an online thing that came out in, I think, 3 parts, that just did it for me. So it was like so BMX to me that it was just way more about the journey of BMX. And I think that because it's got a unique, not necessarily unique, but it's not just section. It's a video that shows, you know, the journey and making use of unique spots and going to different places, and you know, that DIY attitude, like that really shone through in the Live Fast video. And I'm partial to that type of riding, so I'm going to vote for that. I don't know if it'll win it, but I think that it probably should, because it shows riders that sometimes it's not just about the tricks you can do on a bike. And even though all of the other videos were insane and have sick tricks, and I think that the chocolate truck video too, like, you know, it's much more of a scene video, so it's really cool feeling and cool vibes for that. But my vote and my prediction will be the Live Fast video by Vans. And then we're going to go on to the video part of the year. So we've got Alex Heim with Magic Powers, Dennis Enison with Acer, Kevin Perazzo with Contoto, Lewis Mills, Lewis Fiending, and Trey Jones, No Fun. The ones that stand out to me, I mean, again, Alex, I said, was going to be the transition rider of the year. Obviously, that video, if you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It's crazy. Lewis Fiending was ridiculous. And I love the way that I think it's Ben Norris puts the videos together. There's something a little bit different about it. It still feels quite raw and has a bit of a Supreme skate vibe or something to it. And the music is cool that he uses. It's super left field compared to your average BMX videos. So, you know, all video parts in this section, again, like, we're talking the top 5 video parts of the year. So there's not one that's like, oh, clearly drop that one off. But to me, it's a real splitting of, you know, it's a pick'em between Lou is Fiending and Dennis Enison with Acer. I loved the Dennis Enison video because we both became fathers at a similar point in time. He absolutely ripped it. You know, this video, he's got a brand new baby. He just, again, proves a different part of BMX, which is that it's not just this young person sport. It's something that, you know, he's got a child. He's obviously a professional rider, so he only has to focus on that. But shit changes when you get it, when you have a child. And I think that for him to knock out a video like that with such crazy riding, and it's so well rounded, you know, like I think one of the first clips is him riding the trails, and then he's got street riding and he's got transition riding. It's just all in there. He's got such a he's almost like got a stuntman aspect to his riding, where it's like not necessarily the most technical street riding, you know, in terms of that progressive technicality of switch and opposite and half cab out and all that jazz, although I'm sure he could do it. But I just love that he almost just finds the biggest setups and he's like, I can do this. So, and you just don't see that type of riding from very many people. Dennis is one of those people, and then he puts it all together in a video part just after he has a kid, and that's what, for me, gets that video part of the year. So we're down to, I think, the last one that's come out, which is, Reader's Choice. So we got Denham Cox, Felix Prangenberg, Josh Dove, Lewis Mills, and Mickey Fleck. So I gave Lewis or Felix the nod with the Street Rider of the Year. I think Lewis will get it done in Street Rider of the Year. I think that Felix will win Reader's Choice Rider of the Year. Again, I think it's just because his just body of work over this last year has been off the charts, and he's just doing things that's ridiculous on a BMX in the streets, and he's the type of rider that can compete. So he's showing that level to the readers or to the Instagram viewers, and then he's and as well that to the wider audience. Then he's releasing video parts which is off the head. He's doing new tricks that no one's ever seen before, so that's crazy. And I just think that he's just gonna bring this one home. I've got to do the old special mention to Josh Dovey. In Australia, if this was the Australian Reader's Choice, I reckon Dovey would bring it home for sure, only because he's just such a standout rider. But I just think that the level of competition that he's up against in this is, next level. Denham Cox, he could actually win Reader's Choice just on that motorbike jump that he did at Swamp Fest, which isn't even on a BMX, but I feel like that got everyone on board with Denham Cox. It was pretty classic. So yeah, it'll be an interesting one. I'm looking forward to watching the Battle of Hastings and seeing who gets the awards. I think it's important that we have these awards in BMX. It just kind of like celebrates BMX. I think anything that celebrates BMX is important. And I also think that if we, look at potentially doing our own version of it, an Australian version, that'll just add to it. And it's something that I'm planning on doing for, hopefully next year's Act Jam. So keep an eye out. We're a month away from the Act Jam. I'm just about to release the locations. So, keep an eye out for that. Again, appreciate you guys listening. Let me know who you think are going to win in the comments. I'd be really interested to know. And tune in next week. Thanks for listening. See you guys later.